Hey guys, Spencer from Buildapreneur here, and if you were watching this video, I'm assuming that you've been told you need a sales funnel, and you've been told ClickFunnels is the way to do it, and then you signed up for a ClickFunnels account and realized it was a lot harder than people were telling you. Don't worry. Inside this video, we are going to take you step by step through the entire ClickFunnels app so that you will know honestly more than about 75% of ClickFunnels users by the end of it. Now, first we need to talk a little bit about sales funnels, okay? We need to understand that there's two parts to a successful funnel inside of ClickFunnels. One is the technical aspect, knowing how to do things and make things look good and how it all works and connects. The second thing is the psychology of sales funnels, okay? It doesn't matter if you know how to build a funnel. If you don't understand the psychology of it, you still won't get any sales. You'll just have a little better looking funnel. So let's talk a little bit about why we need sales funnels for about 30 seconds. You probably have a website in your business, or you at least know a lot of businesses that do have websites. Now, sales funnels and websites are very, very different. A lot of people just think that they're going to build a website in ClickFunnels, and that's not at all what you're doing. Okay, a sales funnel is about a journey. A website is a place, it's a stagnant place where your audience can go and find you. Okay, they know that it's always going to be there. They can go and they can find access to anything you've sold and courses and support and contact you and all that good stuff, right? That's what a website is for. But it's not for selling things. It's not for converting customers and getting them to, spend the most money possible with your company and get the most value out of your company. That's what a sales funnel is for. A sales funnel is for taking a potential customer, turning them into a lead, and then taking that lead and turning it into a first-time customer, and then getting that first-time customer to become a long-time customer and buy all the products you have that can benefit that customer. That's what a sales funnel is about, okay? It's taking this customer on this journey where they learn about you and they make little commitments and slowly, buy more and more of your products instead of just dumping a bunch of crap on them on a website and hoping that they, figure out what it is that you want them to do and what's for them and things like that. All right, so we are here inside of my ClickFunnels account now, and we are going to start a brand new funnel totally from scratch, okay? And the way we do that, we go to ClickFunnels, Funnels, and then we're at this page, and then we go to Add New. Now, it's kind of funny, they give you two different options. Really, the only time you're going to use this classic funnel builder is if you are trying to build a funnel completely from scratch, okay? You want to be staring at a blank white slate and go from there. I would not do that unless you know what you're doing. You have a designer, you have someone that understands funnels and psychology and things like that, because starting from scratch is just a lot harder, and these templates have been proven to work. So we're going to start with this cookbook, which is sales funnel templates, okay? We're going to click Start Cookbook, and it's going to give us all kinds of funnel templates based on what we want to do, okay? Are we putting on a summit? Are we putting on a webinar? And obviously some of these you might have never heard of. Do we just want something that kind of looks like a homepage on a website? Are we putting out a lead magnet, right? And what a lead magnet is where we give somebody something for free in exchange for an email address. So a really simple opt-in page. And that's probably what we'll do for this one because we want it to be really simple, okay? So we'll click that, and he's gonna teach in this little video what a lead magnet is, but essentially it's just an opt-in funnel where we send someone to a page where we give them something for free, and then we send them on from there to other places, a thank you page. Down here, it's like, these are the free ones, okay? There's awesome free ones. I would just start with the free ones, or you can go paid, which, do tend to be more awesome. but there's plenty of great free ones that will work just fine for your business, so let's just select this one. And we're actually not gonna use this. We're gonna use a different funnel while this one loads. But all you're gonna do is click Get Funnel, and it's gonna load up in your account. Let's hop into a different funnel, though, that we're gonna show as an example once you've clicked that. So once you click Get Funnel, it's going to load in your account, and it's going to look just like this. I'm not using this particular funnel just because I like how it looks. Okay, there's nothing different about this than the one that you would have selected. This is one I just recently bought the template for, actually. So this is an overview of a funnel. Okay, this is a funnel, kind of the what's the word? Taking a step back and looking at in general what your funnel is going to look like. Over here we have the steps in a funnel, and this can be 10, 15 steps long if you want, though that's probably a little too long, but typically mine are 4, 5, 6, 7 steps long. And this is just the journey that the buyer goes in, okay? So in this funnel's case, they go to an opt-in page, they put in their email address, and then the next page it's going to send them to is a thank you page where we can, tell them about our product, or give them access to whatever they've wanted or whatever we want to do there. But this is the journey, so we can add another page and say, now I want to add a sell. I want the thank you page to talk about something, and then I want to add another step in my funnel that then starts to sell them something, and then I want a fourth step in my funnel to start taking credit card information, and then I want a fifth step in my funnel to actually upsell them, right? So each of these is pages that we're sending users through this journey, right? And over on the left, we're seeing the journey and what that is. We're gonna go to a couple other things up here. Over here is where you're gonna see stats. So if people go through your funnel, if you send 500 people through your funnel and you wanna know like, well, how many people actually put in their email address here and how many people dropped off, well, we'll list it in the stats. How many people purchased the first product that showed up on that page? Things like that. That's where stats will be. And then when you go to settings right here, we can do all kinds of good things. So this is where you'll choose your domain. So what website, right? What's it going to show up here? The default is going to look weird like that, buildapreneur/app.clickfunnels.com, something like that. And you obviously want it to look a lot better than that. And so this says, what domain do you want it to be on? And later on in the video, I'll show you how you can actually get domains into your account so that you can do this. You can see ClickFunnels has access to tons of different domains currently in my account. But so that's where you'll select the domain for the funnel that it's all going to be hosted on. If you do any kind of Facebook or Google tracking, that can all be done right there as well. And the last thing you want to know about is A/B testing. So you can see this opt-in page is right here. This is the opt-in page. But we can actually tell ClickFunnels that we want to test something. For example, I might say, I don't like the headline on this funnel, but I'm not sure that mine's any better. And so I can click create variation, and I can create just a duplicate of that page, and then I can tweak the headline on my duplicate. Okay, so I can take my duplicate, and it's loading here for a second, and I can edit it and say something slightly different that I think might work better. I can say masterclass. I don't know what you'd say there. There's a bunch of different things you could say, but that's where we would do that, and it's called A/B testing. And then that can give us as we start sending traffic, we can get a better idea of what marketing message is actually working better with people. Okay, so I always recommend A/B testing on that first page to see which message gets more people to put in their email address. And when we go to our stats, it will actually tell us. We can go into stats, and I'm not going to have any stats on this particular funnel right now, but we can go to opt-in page, and you can see I've got a control and a variation, and it'll say, hey, you sent 50 people there, 49 of them were unique, and this is the rate of people that actually opted in. And on your variation, hopefully I was right and my variation was higher, then it'll say, 93% of people actually put in their email address on your variation page. And I'm like, awesome, I'm clearly really good at marketing. Okay, so we've talked about A/B testing, we've talked about where to put in tracking links, where to find your stats, and where to choose the URL for your entire funnel. Where is it all going to be hosted? Next, I want to talk about the URL structure in general. And this is where things get really confusing. So, and this is where a lot of people, I get questions about this in my group and in my email, and all the time, this is where people get lost. So, you choose a URL for the entire funnel, right? That's what we did right here in settings. We also choose a path for the entire funnel. And what a path is this part right here, okay? So, clickfunnels.com / whatever comes after that is called your path. So for this funnel, we could choose the path of example funnel for YouTube, okay? And then we choose a domain, which is go.buildapreneur.com. That's the domain I've already set up, and we'll talk about that later. So now I've selected the path for the main funnel. If anybody goes to this link right here, go.buildapreneur.com / example funnel for YouTube, it's going to take them to the first step in this funnel, okay? Whatever that first step is at the current time, that's where it's going to take them. You can get that link by clicking this right here. So we're going to go do that, and then what you can see here is another domain, okay? So we've gone to settings, and we've done that, but over here, it's going to show this, and that's the actual URL for this domain, right, for this particular step in the funnel, okay? So this will always go to this step in the funnel, and then it will send them to either this page or this page, okay, depending on this. We tell it, usually I say 50-50. Send half the traffic here for our test, right? So that's what this URL is going to do, and we can even test it right here. Boom, there it is. Okay, it took us to, well, they're the same right now, so it doesn't matter. But that's what that URL will do. You can change that, because once again, you want it to look clean, right? You can see it's not very clean right now. Right here, you can change the settings. Wow, I don't know what's going on with ClickFunnels right now. But you can change that right here, and change the path again to, I usually say step, YouTube video step 1. That's how I like it to look. And then I would update my funnel step. Okay, so now you can see it updated, and that will always send people there. Now guess what? There's another third URL you can send people to, because this one will send them either to this control page or this control page, right? Well, if we click these settings right here, we can actually choose the link for the exact control page, okay? So that first link that we select right here, this is where people get confused. This link is going to send people directly to this whole funnel, okay? This link, which is right here, will always send people to the first step in the funnel, but it will send them to one of these 2 pages. Finally, the final link, which is the actual page, is this one right here, and we can say step 1 V1, which is like version 1, right? I know it sounds confusing, but that is the actual one that people are going to see. Okay, where does that sound? So that is the actual URL that people are going to see up here. So watch, if we go to this now, we highlight that. You can see up here it says step 1 V1, because that's the actual page we sent them to, right? That's this page. So this URL will send people to here, which is this URL. That URL will send people either to this URL or this URL, and that is the final URL. So we'll want to, at the very least, name these URLs to look clean and pretty, because that's what our audience will see. Okay? Now, I talked about URLs for way longer than I wanted to, but people get so confused with all this stuff. They're like, hey, I changed the URL up here, and it still says something, it looks so weird up here. How do I fix that? So now you understand that. Let's dive in and talk about the editor. Okay? This is the actual editor of each individual page. Now, before we do that, you'll notice right here, opt-in, it says opt-in right beneath that. Thank you. It says thank you right beneath that. Every single page actually has a specific page type, okay? And pages are meant to do certain things. Opt-in pages are meant to capture email addresses, which means that we can't try to use an opt-in page to create a credit, to take a credit card information, because we need a sales page that actually does that. So I want to show you what I'm talking about. When I do an add new step, let's just make it up here, and we'll make up a path. Remember what the path is. It's the part that shows up after the domain name. So we chose a template. So it already came pre-selected as an opt-in page and a thank you page. This one you see is saying this little thing because there's different page types. So it's important that when you create a third page in this funnel, that you create it with the proper page type. And people get hung up on this all the time too. They try to create an opt-in page and then put credit card information on there, but it doesn't work. For a credit card information, you need a sales page order form, okay? And I'm going to do that anyway. So that's an order form page, and then it's going to give you a bunch of order form template pages. And this is just if we want to go beyond the template, right? If we want to add steps to the template that we selected. I just want you to understand that each page type can do certain things, and I can't create a credit card form on a opt-in page, because that's not what it's for. An opt-in page is meant to capture an email address. It's coded to do that. Okay, so now we've got an opt-in page, a thank you page, and maybe on the thank you page, if they say, hey, that's cool, thank you for the free thing, I'm ready to buy something, we can send them to an order form page where we actually take their credit card information. We're going to hop into our opt-in page here, and we are going to show you the page editor. Now, ClickFunnels has one of the best, simplest to use page editors I've ever seen. There's a lot of page editor software out there, and some gives you every option on planet Earth and kind of overdoes it and really confuses people. So ClickFunnels has given you enough options that you can do essentially anything you want, but it's not like it's going to be super crazy in terms of hard to figure out. So you can see I'm hovering over there and it's showing everything in green. Next, when I hover over there, it shows everything in blue. And then when I hover over a specific thing, it shows everything in orange, okay? So this is what's called a section. A section goes from the complete left end of your browser to the complete right end of your browser, okay? That is a section. So we build out a website or a funnel in sections. You can see there's a section. There's a section right there. There's a section. And each section, you can choose backgrounds. You can choose opacity. You can choose colors. You can do whatever you want with each section. But the way we build it is we build sections, and then inside of each section, we do rows, okay? And rows, the reason we do that is because rows can be broken up into columns. So you can see this row is just one column. It goes from here to here, and there's nothing else on the outside of it, right? That's the whole thing. This row, you can see, is broken up into 2 columns. Can you see that, how there's a break right here? This row has been broken up into 2 columns. Now I want to show you what I mean by adding a new row so that you're not confused. You see all these different columns? So we can add a 3-column row, and now this row has 3 columns. So you can see why you might want to do this, right? We might want to do a picture here, a button here, and a picture here, or something like that. Or in this case, an opt-in form and then a button. We can move and adjust rows just like that by grabbing that and dragging it. So we can make this one bigger, that one smaller. Can you see how easy that is? But the way it works is we create a section, and then we can choose like a background of the section, and then we put a row inside the section, and then we break that row into columns. And now we've built out our entire template for websites. The reason this is so awesome is when someone goes to it on a mobile phone, it takes our columns, and instead of sitting side by side, it just lines them up like that, and it looks really good on mobile instantly. Okay, that's why it's coded to do this, and that's why websites are built this way, because people change their browser size all the time like that, right? So we need it to adjust, and columns help us to do that. Okay, so that's rows, that's columns, and then inside of each column, so this row is a single column row. Inside of these columns, we put elements, and you can see it's built out just like that up top. Sections, rows, columns, elements. And elements are the stuff people see, right? It's the text, and it's the opt-in thing right here, and it's buttons, and it's images, and it's videos, okay? That's what the elements are. And elements show up in orange, and we can add elements just by clicking plus anywhere we want, okay? Plus. And there it shows up all the element options. You can see we can do headlines, which is big text, subheadlines, which is medium-sized text. That right there, right? We can do paragraphs, which is small text, bullets, images, pop-ups, audio players, buttons, Facebook opt-ins, SMS opt-ins, countdown timers, which are really cool, right? You can see a countdown timer there, all that stuff. So now we've built the general structure. We understand the general structure of how it's going to look, right? And now we can edit each one of these. So if you look, when we hover over a section, it gives us a toolbar right there, and we can edit the section. When I hover over a row, I can edit the row. When I hover over an element, I can edit the element. And that gives you all the options that you would want with that thing. So for example, with a row, we want to change the background picture potentially, right? So we might change the background image to something. We might change the background color. You can see they kind of did like a black, cool looking background that they did semi-opaque. We can change that to totally opaque. See that on the screen? Or we can change it to not opaque at all. Okay, you seeing that? So each of these has options that depend on what that element is. This headline, right? Those options are, well, you want to change the color. You might want to change the opacity. You might want to change the text size. You might want to change the font. All those different things you might want to change, all being done inside each individual one. The last thing we want to look at is each one of these elements has margins, which is basically how much room do you want on top, okay? You can see, if we say 0, it's just going to stack it right up next to the element above it, because we said we don't want any room on top. This one's 100 because we want a lot of room between that one and that one, okay? And so you'll see the element that sections, rows, all that have this margin, see? I can say, hey, I want that whole row to go down, see that? Because the row has margins. You can do left and right here as well. You can see that. Margins on the left and right. So everything has the options that you need to adjust that. So for this one, we would want to make it white because it's really hard to see. Okay, so that's sections, rows, columns, elements. Now if we were on that payment page, we could add an element that looked like this. Remember how we talked about you have to have a payment page to take payments on that page. That has to be like the page type. Oh, they've added so many things I can't even find it anymore. Oh, it's not an option here because this isn't that payment type. So let's save it. By the way, you should always be saving. And then we'll show you how we can add elements to take payments and things like that. I think I saved it. Real quick, let's actually, before we head out of this funnel, let's talk about the settings up here and the mobile settings. So there are some things that are going to be like funnel-wide settings, right? Or page-wide settings that won't make sense to edit in a single element. So that's all up here. For example, what is this going to look like when someone shares it on Facebook? What's the image that's going to show up? What's the text that's going to show up? You know, when you share on Facebook and it automatically inserts some text in an image, that can all be done right here. We can add a quick image here. Boom. Now when it gets shared on Facebook, it's going to look like that. Pretty, right? Hey, by the way, I got this funnel from Jake Leslie Designs, if anyone's wondering. Other settings include adding tracking code. If you're doing, you'll understand this if you're doing Facebook ads or Google ads or anything like that. If you're a coder, you can do custom CSS. You can do all kinds of custom stuff to it. The background for the entire thing, so you can see they use the same background for this entire funnel. You just can't see it because these things are covering it up. That can be done there. If you want to choose like a default font for the whole funnel, and then just kind of a few other random things. Do you want it to show in search engines, other things like that, all show up right here. and then you can also save the pages as templates to use in the future. Anyway, so that's all the options there. The other thing you need to know about is how it's going to look on mobile. So more than half of the internet traffic right now is mobile in most niches. So you can click this right here and boom, it's going to show you exactly what it's going to look like in mobile. And you can say, oh, okay, it doesn't look good in mobile. I want to make some adjustments. And I don't want this to show up on mobile, for example, or this margin is too big on mobile. There's all kinds of things you can do, but you can very easily see what it's going to look like on mobile. And as you can see, it adjusts to mobile. The default mobile view is actually really, really good looking. And if you go to individual elements like this, you can see you can actually tell it to hide on mobile and hide on desktop. So you can say like, this countdown timer looks good on desktop, but it actually it takes up too much of the screen on mobile. So I can go to settings and I can say desktop only. Now watch, when I go to my mobile view, that countdown timer is completely gone, okay? And that button is a lot closer to the top. So we can do the same thing on mobile. I can say, hey, I want to hide this. I want to go to the settings, and I actually want to hide this on, I want to have that be mobile only. So now when I go to my desktop, that headline's gone, right? Just see how so cool, simple this is. Like it takes 30 minutes of watching this video basically to figure out how the whole software works, and you can do pretty much anything you want very, very quickly and very, very easily. So let's go back here. Oh, let's save. No, we don't want to save from the last thing. So let's just exit. Okay. So as you can see, we created a order page a while earlier. Let's go in and kind of take a quick peek at that so we know how that all works. Order pages come with order boxes, okay? So you can see that element right there, and we can move that all over. I don't like my order page honestly being up there, so we can grab it and drag it, and it'll just fill whatever space we give it. So let's put it right. I'd have to redo this entire thing, obviously, but I personally would make it look like this, okay? And then you could add some little margin. You see how quickly I'm able to just make some edits like this. But anyway, order pages come pre-filled with credit card information. Did I forget? Oh, this is a two-step order form, so I was not paying attention to that. But we can easily make a one-step order form just by adding an element, because it's just an element, right? Or a credit card. Drag that right there, and look, it's now got credit card information ready to go. Someone puts in their credit card information, and it will take their payment. Boom, it was that easy. Okay, so order pages give you the options to add things like order bumps, order summaries, two-step order forms, all kinds of little things that only come available on those pages. And that's why we have to create the right page type from the beginning. If we're going to take credit card information, it's got to be an order form. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to dive a little further in, and we're going to talk about page-wide stuff. So you remember we talked about like a domain, like you've got the domain, and Buildapreneur.com, go.buildapreneur.com, it somehow has access to ClickFunnels here, right? You can't just select any domain you want on planet Earth. You've got to give ClickFunnels access to your domain. Same thing with payments, right? Like ClickFunnels is going to take a payment, but you need a payment portal that will actually like process that payment and give you the money and things like that. So that's called Stripe, is what typically people use. So, and then you need email automation, right? You need, when someone puts in their email address on that opt-in page, you need it to go somewhere. Like, where does that email address go, right? So we're going to show you all three of those. That's what's in account-wide settings. So if you go here, we go to integrations. This is where we can add our email integration. So if you use, depending on what email autoresponder you use, you can use ActiveCampaign or GetResponse or Aweber or whatever it is you use. You'll just click Add New, and you'll search for it. So Aweber is our example here. And it's going to ask for some information. All you'll have to do is go into your Aweber account, and every single one of these is different, but you can Google it in like 3 seconds, like Aweber integration, right? And Aweber will show you right here how to get the information that ClickFunnels needs to create the integration. Next thing you'll need to do is get a Stripe account so that your money can go somewhere when it's given to you. Same thing, you see my Stripe account there. You'll click Add New Payment Gateway. We'll type in Stripe, and same thing. We'll Google Stripe integration after we've created our Stripe account, and Stripe will teach us how to do integrations right there. It's usually they just give you 2 or 3 bits of information that you need to give ClickFunnels so that ClickFunnels has access. Okay, that's the Stripe integration. And finally, domains. Once again, this is different with every domain host, so that's why it's kind of confusing. ClickFunnels will give you 1 free domain, so if you don't already have a domain, just go through ClickFunnels, get their free one, and it's way easy. If not, you'll go to Add New Domain, and you'll have to Google the same thing. If you're like, for the host that I use GoDaddy. We'll use an existing domain. It's called CNAME. It's kind of confusing, but GoDaddy. ClickFunnels will give you all the instructions you need to be able to go into GoDaddy and get the information to give ClickFunnels access, okay? So all you'll do is type in the domain that you own inside of GoDaddy or HostGator or wherever it is. You'll click Add Domain, and then what's going to happen is ClickFunnels will say, okay, I need these 4 pieces of information, okay? And I need you to do this in your HostGator account. And then you'll go into your HostGator account and you'll do exactly what ClickFunnels says. It'll give you step-by-step instructions. If I had another domain to do this with, I would. I promise you it is step-by-step, and that's where you do it. We've now got access to get the money when people give it to us. We've got a place to put the email addresses when people put in their email addresses. And we've got a domain set up, right? So that each of our funnels can actually be branded to us and branded to our domain. And that's all done in these funnel-wide settings right here. Real quick, I want to talk about Actionetics and Backpack because people are always asking, do I need this? Let's just talk about the ClickFunnels plans if you don't understand them. They have a $299 plan, which is called the Edison Suite, or $297. And then they have a $97 plan, which is the base ClickFunnels software. I typically recommend beginners start with just the base ClickFunnels $97 plan. It doesn't come with Actionetics or Backpack. What Actionetics is an email marketing platform, okay? And Backpack is an affiliate management platform. And honestly, you don't need either one of these in the very beginning. You probably don't have any affiliates that are selling your stuff, and you don't need a $100 a month autoresponder because you probably don't have a big email list yet. You can get one for $9 in the beginning, okay? So that's what these are. This is an email autoresponder, and this is an affiliate program manager. And so if you have both those, then yeah, maybe that's a good idea. If not, you're fine on the $97 a month plan, and then you can grab an email autoresponder for like $10 a month. I recommend ActiveCampaign. There's a review that'll pop up right here of ActiveCampaign where you can kind of look over that if you want. But anyway, that's where you do all that. Now let's talk about the psychology of funnels, just as I promised, for about 2 or 3 minutes, okay, like how this all works. The way funnels work is they're built on the concept of micro commitments. So when people are doing anything in life and you're trying to convince someone to make a big decision, the best way to get them to do that is have them make micro commitments, okay, meaning little teeny steps to get them there. There's actually this Netflix show where they take these people and they try to get them to kill people. They get them to, by the end of the TV show, they get these people in this really intense situation to, they stop it before it actually happens, but they get them to push someone off the edge of a building. And the way they do it is they get them to make little teeny micro commitments, okay? Now that's obviously psychology used wrong, but if you've got a good product, then this is just marketing psychology in general. And that's what funnels are built around, okay? We don't want to grab somebody and say, right off a Facebook ad and say, hey, I just built this $1,000 course that you can go buy right now, right? Like, who's going to do that? No one's going to do that. What we want to do is get them to slowly make micro commitments, and that's what this funnel is. That's that first step, right, where they just put in their email address and get something for free. They've made a micro commitment, right? And it's like a little journey, and it was really easy to make. They didn't have to give up anything. They just had to give up an email address. So that's what micro commitments mean. It also gets their attention and gets them going, right? Like once somebody's in a funnel, people tend to just they keep going with it. As crazy as that sounds, once we've got their attention, then we can run with it. If we can't get their attention in the beginning, then people will click out before you ever get a chance. And that little simple micro commitment in the beginning of getting them to put in an email address gets their attention, gets them off of Facebook or wherever it is they're coming to your funnel from, and kind of gets them honed in on whatever it is that you're offering. So that's the second reason we have a funnel. And the third reason is the idea of a hook and an offer. So when we try to sell something, if we want them to listen, okay, if we want someone to listen, we have to hook them first. We have to hook them in and entice them into saying, okay, I'm going to listen to your offer here. And ClickFunnels allows us to do that in this little process, right? It allows us to get an email address and then hook them and then send them to another page where we actually make the offer, and it makes it much more smooth as opposed to a website, right, where it's kind of just all the information's there. They might scroll down to the offer right at the beginning and be like, nah, I don't want it, I'm gone. And they don't even read the offer. But us doing it page by page by page through a funnel allows us to hook them, right? It allows us to make them make micro commitments and hook them in and get them to commit to actually watching our offer and paying attention to our offer, okay? So now you understand why that's so important, why that's so important for people to do that. You understand that your funnel needs to be this journey, okay? Don't spit all your information onto any one page. Your first page, you've got one goal. That's to get them to put in their email address. So you saw that first page. there's probably 20 words total on there, because we just want somebody to make a tiny little commitment, and it doesn't require much to get somebody to put in an email address. So we just need enough words and enough copy to get them to do that, right? Now the next page, you might have a different goal. The next page might be to hook them, right? And to get them convinced enough to make one more micro commitment and click a button and say, yes, I'm interested, and go to another page. So that page, you might sell them a little bit more, or have a video that talks about something for 2 or 3 minutes, and then say, if you're interested, click the next page. That gets them to another page, and that might be your full-on sales page, right? Where you're like, okay, I've hooked you, you've shown that you're interested enough. Now I've got you, paying attention to my offer. You've made 2 little micro commitments, and now you can kind of lay out a full page offer where you're showing testimonials and a full-on video sales letter and things like that. And so be careful that each piece of your funnel, each step, only focuses on making like one commitment, right? One small commitment that gets them to the next step, and all your copy is and your design and everything is focused around that one single step in the funnel. Okay, and that way you don't end up overcomplicating it for people and they just leave. You get them to make just little steps. I think I've over talked about that. But the last thing I want to talk about is the psychology of all this, okay? And that's the 2 words. And this video has gone very long, but if you're still watching, props to you. Hopefully you've learned something. You're about to learn something. That's the idea of urgency and scarcity, okay? Every single sales funnel you make needs to have an element of urgency and scarcity. Very, very proven in billions of psychology studies to work. And what these are is, urgency is when you make someone feel like they have to get something now, right? And the way you do that is you limit it. You say, hey, I'm only going to give this to 100 people, and then follow through with it, really only give it to 100 people. Or I'm only going to do this for 24 hours, right? That's where the countdown timer comes in. Or I'm only going to, let's see, what are some other ways to make things urgent? You get the gist. You basically have to do something to make it so they have to act now. If they don't act now, they're going to lose it. Maybe something goes away or a bonus goes away or something like that. But the idea of urgency and scarcity is you need to act now or this opportunity will not be here for long, okay? So 1, you need to market that to them by using countdown timers and telling them. 2, you need to actually do that. You need to actually make this urgent and this offer urgent and scarce, right? Where you're only going to limit the number of people it goes to, or you're going to limit the amount of time that they have the option to get this offer. You're going to want to use that on every page of your sales funnel. Okay, so you want to use that on the lead magnet. Like, this lead magnet is going away. We're going to remove this after 2,000 people or whatever it is, take this offer. And then you're going to use it on your actual sale. Like, hey, the first 100 people get this for $4.97, and then after that it's going up to $9.97 or $14.97 or whatever it is, right? So you're going to use this urgency and scarcity to get people to buy. And this is what companies do, right? This is why they go on, they have sales and things like that. Like, this is why they have Black Friday sales and stuff, right? They make it really urgent. You've got one day and only 100 people are going to get it, and then they get 10 billion people in their store with that, right? Like, this is how marketing works. So hopefully we haven't just overblown your brain with information here. But that's how psychology works, okay? We make them make micro commitments. We do it very simple, and we have each page in the funnel built around a single concept and a single step that we want them to make. And we try to, as simply as possible, get that concept across to them. And then we use urgency and scarcity on every step of the funnel, real urgency and real scarcity, to actually get people to act right then while they're in the funnel, okay? That is a ClickFunnels tutorial with a little psychology cherry on top at the end. Now, if you're looking, there's a lot of things you'd be looking for now, but if you actually watch this next video, it's going to help you a whole lot more in this process. You're obviously new to ClickFunnels, and so grab this next video. It's a ClickFunnels tutorial, and we can keep learning about ClickFunnels and building profitable sales funnels. Thanks so much for watching, guys.